Hey YouTube, it's Adam from I'm a Music Mogul. Today's video, I'm going to show you how to get that Lil Yachty vocal effect. Now this is a pitch correction vocal effect and a lot of rappers today are using it. Drake, Future, Belly, I mean you name it, that rapper is probably using this effect on their track because it is huge right now in today's music. Now it does work nicely with certain sort of voices. Mine it doesn't work so well because I'm not really a rapper. I'm not really a singer. I don't have a cool sort of sound to my voice, so it's not going to sound as good as some of those rappers I just listed. But after this tutorial, you'll get the point of how to get this effect applied to your own vocals, and who knows, maybe your vocal is better than mine, which it probably is. But so here is the vocal effect on my vocals, so please disregard that. I am playing out the Broccoli session that I put together a couple weeks back, so if you want to see how I put that one together, hit the card in the top right hand corner. You could go see that and download this Logic session. But for now, here is the vocals with that pitch correction effect that Lil Yachty uses in his tracks.
Hey little mama, would you like to be my sunshine? Touch my game, we gon' turn this shit to Columbine. Ice on my neck, cost me 10 times 3. $30,000 for ticket fee. I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did a show and spent the check on my mama. When I go on vacay, I might rent out the Bahamas. And I keep like 10 phones, then I'm really never home.
So right there, you could hear that vocal effect. So I'm going to create a new software instrument track. Sorry, a new audio track. And whoa, turn off that. I'm going to go ahead and just drop this down. So here it's in its dry format. So let's just take a piece here.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did a show and spent the check on my mama.
So that's the vocals in its dry format. The first thing you want to apply in your chain is the actual pitch correction plugin. Now, depending on what you use, it all pretty much will get the same effect. Right here, I'm using Logic's built-in pitch correction. The first thing that you do want to know is the key of the song. So in this case, I'm going to go ahead to my major scale and I'm going to go to a D sharp major. This is really an E flat major, but it's the same thing. So let's go here. And this is what we get so far.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did.
So what you want here is you want your response really fast. So all the way to the extreme.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did a show and spent the check on my mama.
So you could really hear that pulling my vocals to the right note. If you want to make your vocals a little higher or a little lower sounding, you can kind of do it right here.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10.
But my voice is already a little too high for these kind of rappers, so let's maybe lower it.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did a show and spent the.
We can just leave it at 0 for now.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's.
Those are just things you can manipulate with your vocals.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent.
So the next thing that you want to do is bring in an EQ. Now this really works nice with sort of high end frequencies. So we're just going to cut out a little bit of the lows below 100 hertz, roughly with a 24 dB per octave right there. And then we're just going to quickly just boost up around the 1K range. And then we're going to quickly boost up around the 10K range. And it's kind of boosting your highs and it really brings out that pitch correction effect.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did a show and spent the check on my mama. When I go on vacay, I might rent out the Bahamas. And I keep like.
Sometimes he really pushes it to be a little narrower.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10.
I kind of like to keep some of the lows in there though.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did a show and spent the check on my mama. When I go on vacay, I might rent out the Bahamas. And I keep like 10.
The next thing that you want to put in your chain is a nice compressor. Just to compress your vocals as you should do most of the time. So we're going to use a classic VCA here. And we're just going to set our ratio to a pretty high ratio here because this is a rap vocal. So we really want it sort of compressed heavily. And maybe we'll add in some makeup, but let's see. We're going to turn off auto gain.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did a show.
And you're looking about -5 to -10 dBs of gain reduction.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did a show and spent the check on.
So somewhere like that is pretty good to go.
I just hit Rodeo and I spent like 10 G's. I just did a show and spent the check on my mama. When I go on vacay, I might rent out the.
Next thing that you want to put in this is a nice delay because this is your vocals. Now most of the time you should put this on a bus track, but since we are in the tutorial right here, I'm just going to quickly put it on my actual channel. So what we're gonna do here, just put an eighth note delay.
I just hit rodeo and I spend like 10 G's.
You want this fully dry because we're actually on the track itself. And we're gonna bring down the wetness to about 15%.
I just hit rodeo and I spend like 10.
And we want to cut out the lows so we don't get too much muddiness there. Just kind of keep it a nice narrow sort of delay.
I just hit rodeo and I spend like 10 G's. I just did a show and spend the check on my mama. When I go on vacay, I might rent out the Bahamas. And I keep like 10 phones, then
Maybe we'll lower that a little bit.
I just hit rodeo and I spend like 10 G's. I just did a show and spend the check on my mama.
Next thing that we're going to do is just lastly bring in a reverb, and just so it sits better in your mix.
I just hit rodeo and I spend like 10 G. I just hit rodeo and I spend like 10 G.
Just lower the wetness. You could do a larger room here.
I just hit rodeo and I spend like 10 G's. I just did a show and spend the check on my mama. When I go on vacay, I might rent out the Bahamas. And I keep like 10 phones, then I'm really never home.
And then you could place that in with the rest of your track.
I just hit rodeo and I spend like 10 G's. I just did a show and spend the check on my mama. When I go on vacay, I might rent out the Bahamas. And I keep like 10 phones, then I'm really never home. I just hit rodeo. Hey little mama, would you like to be my sunshine? Touch my game, we gon' turn this shit to Columbine. Ice on my neck, cost me 10 times 3. $30,000 for ticket fee. I just hit rodeo and I spend like 10 G's.
And that is pretty much how you get that Lil Yachty vocal effect. And I showed you some things that you could do to make it a little bit better on your vocals. But for the most part, that is how you get the effect. If you do have any questions on this, you can ask me in the comment section below. For more good videos like this one, remember to go crazy on that subscribe button. And if you did like this video, remember thumbs up and share this video, guys. That's it for me. I'll talk to you all in the next one. Talk to y'all soon. Later.